Everyone. So, this is actually something that's kind of interesting. I was asked to do videos with my mold. I haven't done a lot of mold work, and so a lot of my molds have been mediocre. Like, they were okay. I think the people who make the molds and do those videos probably have a better job of doing it correctly. But I have learned some things from my experimentation. So, first of all, I did make this mold with pieces of the mother of pearl. That's what it is. So these pieces, like, I broke it up into small pieces and I made this one. And when it fell, it broke. I wore it for a long time. I actually think I might be able to repair it. I got to see if I have, I'm thinking, yeah, I'm missing a key piece, but maybe I can put everything in there. It's a bit thin. That's one of the things I'm going to talk about with that today. And then I did another one. Yeah, here it is. Same thing. This one was not delicate. It just, I'm a klutzy person and I dropped it. So this one actually worked really, really well. I made it with this like rock pebbles. And it just did great, actually. So this one was very interesting in that regard until I dropped it and broke it in multiple places. But it's quite heavy because I made it with perlite, perote, and then like this kind of like amethysty kind of small pebbly rock. So I might try to recreate those. That's in my to be repaired pile. That's actually another video, or, you know, destroyed. I'm taking apart for parts like the magnets. So that's another video I've been thinking about doing, though, a repair video, because I do have to repair them sometimes. But I am moving to Poland, like I talked about a couple of times, and I have a lot of little nail color ones, and I think it's just not worth taking. I hardly ever use them, and they're quite heavy for what you get. And it was one of the first things I bought before I realized that I really wasn't going to use them that much for toppers. So I have been practicing on this because I've been wanting to make these properly, and I want to point out some of the things that I have noticed. So this one of the three I've made are the most successful, which is they're all tortoise shell, and I filled it in the back with clear, and I think that the other two are quite soft, and I think it's because they have these opaque colors in there that are quite thick, and the UV light doesn't penetrate through all the way, so it stays kind of liquidy. So I keep curing them over and over, and I flip them on both sides to basically see if that will help. Now, I've worn them out. Oh, and it hasn't been a problem. So this pink one I haven't worn out yet, but the other, the tortoise shell one I wore out, and this blue tortoise shell with sparkles I also wore out today. So I keep wearing them. You can see it's soft. It's like collapsing down in on itself a little bit. So I keep hoping if I do enough UV that it might be effective. I thought the glitter would be transparent enough that it would allow more light through, but I don't know. I do like the glitter with it, though, so I'm not as worried. Like I said, I've just been basically putting them on top of these toppers that are okay. They're not my favorites, and just curing them through a bunch. So I have this pink one that I did with a pink and a kind of taupe, a regular tortoise, and then a tortoise with a little blue and sparkle. So what I was thinking is, because I told you guys I have a lot of color, I was thinking about doing a red, pink, sparkly red, and then I have like a silver glitter, multicolored glitter, and a white. And I'm gonna see, like, as I put them in, I can usually get a feel for it. So some of the things that I've done to kind of like make the tortoise work. I've done like 5 tortoises before this to try and get it to work, and it just never looked right to me. So these are some of the things that I picked up. So one, it's nice to have a little bit more. You kind of drizzle and I kind of drag that trail through this more narrow area so you can get the color down a little bit further. It's harder in the narrow areas to get that color in, so it's nice when it's drippy to kind of force it in. This one looks like it has a piece of fiber in it. Frankly, that doesn't shock me. I have 2 cats, and sometimes you just can't help it. Let me get... I keep napkins from takeout for this kind of thing. Okay. So I like to start with kind of one of the things that I think of as the key color. Like, I definitely want this pink in there. So I make sure that I'm getting that in and kind of putting it in some key places. You can dab it in for a little bit of an effect, and don't worry about it like beating up, like, oh, it's too perfect. I want it to be, it's gonna spread out as we go. I also kind of pull the mold apart with my fingers just a little bit. I find that can be helpful in getting the piece in. Now, we might have to go in and put in some more pink. We'll see. I was just thinking this might be a fun Valentine's Day topper. To be honest, I didn't really know. I just wanted to get a chance to use some of this nail color that I have so much of kind of laying around. And my new school is red. Like, their colors are red, like bright red and blue. So I was thinking I might try and make like a bright red and blue tort of some kind. I like the tort with these different nail colors purely because if you're going to use a bunch of colors, it's nice. You know, you're not mixing it up in the UV gel. So it's nice to, you can have the little brush and you dab it in. See, this is why it's better to pull it apart. I mean, it's natural. You want to shake some of it off, but it's really better if you can drip some in and trail it. It's a little tedious. It's a little tedious, I admit it. But there's not much you can do about that. I mean, there's a better way to apply it. I've tried with some brushes as well, so it can be different. But so far, this has worked in the first round of application when I'm applying this stuff. When it starts getting less, you can also kind of tip the bottle a little bit. I've poured, but I'm going to actually, you guys know me, I can't seem to stop experimenting. I'm going to try and experiment actually. With this a little bit. I was thinking if I get a small layer midway through, I might try to do some curing and then put some more on top and see if that helps with this. But we need to get a layer of color on there all the way around because I want to mix it a little bit. All right, so we have a pink, a dark red, and now I'm going to use this like glitter red. Now, I've done a lot with glitter red. This one... Well, should we put in the glitter? Maybe, yeah, let's just do a little bit with the glitter red and then come in. I really do think I want to do some white. So I want some of that white to really come through. I like to make sure that there's really nice opaque colors up here at the top because this is where those magnets are. Sometimes they come through anyway, but you try, and try again. It'd be interesting to find out if any of you guys are that are watching, are you guys all in America, or will some of you in places like Europe? I imagine I don't have a big following in China itself. There's just not enough expats here, that kind of thing, and it's not like I'm very popular. I'm just curious in the sense that I've been here in China a while. I'm excited for the move and just in general where people are. I don't usually maintain very much of an online presence, so this kind of thing is a bit new for me, but I like teaching. I like showing how to do stuff. I like this kind of crafty experimentation, so that works well for me. Okay, I think, oh wait, no, let me put some over here. This one definitely has less. I better do a little bit more. Okay. So that little drop looked like it would be really good somewhere smaller, which is why I suddenly shifted, because that's quite a big area. It's easier to put those kind of things. So you can actually pour from the bottle. I just haven't always had the most success with that. You can't be as controlled, and some of them pour better than others, that's for sure. Oh, I missed it. I was trying to stretch it and I couldn't. Okay, I'm going to show you how to fix that, because that does come up. There. I really want to get some down here, which is where I was trying to get that white. There. All right. Now, what I have done in the past that kind of works for me with this is I take one of these like thin sort of metal things. This one's tweezers, but it could be anything, and I scrape it. So a paintbrush doesn't work as well because it doesn't scrape as well as this scrapes. So I don't use my fine nail brushes for this. And this is the beauty part of making this sort of modeled tortoise pattern. It doesn't matter if it gets a little blended. It should get a little blended. That's one of the things that if you get the too defined edges, some of the ones that I first made, the edges were too defined. And then I just use my napkin and I'll use my rubbing alcohol on it. Okay, now there's still some gap sort of air bubbly places in here. So now I want to fill it in, and I have to decide if I want silver or if I want this sparkly glitter. And I think I'm going to go with this sparkly glitter. No, I changed my mind. Now that I see it, I want the silver. See, I can be a little spontaneous sometimes. So we're trying not to get it completely full. We want some in there. This is when the pouring, this is more effective. We can do the pouring with this. We're just trying to kind of fill in. This is my attempt at this new version that I've never done before, where I'm kind of gonna try and do some setting of it before we completely finish it. Well, I didn't line that up well that time going around. There, that one's a little better. All right, we want to stop. That was drizzly. Yeah, I think that silver is going to look a lot better than the other sparkle would. But it's a bit drizzly everywhere. Okay, now I'm going to kind of tap it. And then I'm going to use these again because I find that there's sometimes like there's some air bubbles. See, somehow I managed to fill it up again. No, see there's some air bubbles. I was trying to get it to be less full. This one, it's a little thinner down in here. And there's space there. That's good. All right. The more you don't have extra sitting on the top, the better. Because if it's over full, then you got to like file everything down. And if the edges are messy, where's my... So I found that to be the case. So when it's light, when it's thin, it's easy to pull off. Okay, that sank in a little bit. Yeah, so my hope is by not having it so full and running it, and then I'll put in the magnet and put some clear, that it will set better and won't be so wibbly wobbly like those other ones. That's the hope. Okay. put that in. I cure it a long time. I'm going to do a bunch of those. So we'll actually stop recording in a minute, and I'll come back and after I've done like 15 of those or something. But you can see here, these are the edges I'm talking about. I keep hoping if it firms up a little bit that I can sand the edges better. This pink one, you can see I haven't managed to do any of that sanding. See, it's not firming up. I noticed this with one I tried to do that was purple, and it just refused. So I've been trying some other experimental ones to see what I could do. So you can see the edges there, so that would be where I would need to sand. So yes, there will be sanding there, and we'll see. So far, this one has been the best, and I think it's because I used that clear and it's not very thick. So we're going to see what happens. But I'll come back to you guys in a little bit after I've run this about 15 times through, okay? Okay, so this has been running for a while, and we do have, it's nice and firm, and it's sunken in a little bit, so that's just what we want. And now we're going to put in our magnet. Now, I have done in the past, and it's probably a good idea to do it again, but I just have been too lazy. I carefully put my magnets on my glasses, or you can put it on a topper. A topper would work as well. And then mark it so that you're like, oh, this side needs to be down and this side needs to be up and all that kind of stuff. But honestly, I've taken to just like putting it on there so I know the orientation and then flopping it in. Especially with these big giant ones, I bought these and they are too big for anything but the mold. It basically like takes up the whole field. So it's like, it don't matter really. It's going to be covered and sit on the magnet. So yeah. So now this is my new plot to attempt. We're going to put in clear. Hopefully this will make it sturdy without it being too thick. This is the plan. And this is the first time I've tried this, although the glitter one that I was using has a lot of transparency to it, so that might be why it was more effective. And if you don't fill it, if you fill it too much, then you got to file it down. And if you don't fill it enough, then you have to worry about it being too thin and it breaks. So it really is a balance. So it's all about this like delicate sort of proceeding. So this is the first time I've done this, so I haven't ever had to worry about this. I just flopped it down on the wet mold, so that worked just fine. But the wet UV gel, but since I'm doing it this way, I'm having to mess with it a little bit more to make sure that it's all nice and surrounded and filled in. Wooden these come with my press-on nails, this wooden dowel rods things, and they're great. I use them more for this kind of stuff than I do for actual nail application. See, it's a bit hollow here, so I need to try and find some to drag. Good. Okay, that looks good. And see, I get so many of these, I can just toss them when they're all wet like this. Now, like I said, I've learned the more we can kind of get up and have less mess, try to have less on the magnets as well. It's always a positive. Okay, let's put it in. So we're gonna run this a few more times and then I will do the pull out in a minute.